Hello and welcome to Positive Fandom. I am your host, and of course, we have Russ Whitfield with us today. Russ, how are you? I know you said you're not quite feeling up to par today.
Oh, I've got man flu. Um, I caught a cold, and it's the worst possible time. And it's my daughter's 18th birthday today,
Oh,
so
wow.
we actually had a brunch UK time this morning, and I've got a hard stop this afternoon because we have to go out for dinner tonight. Also, I have to say my kettle's boiling, so
Yeah,
when it starts to go off, I'll have to run and go and grab a cup of tea. But aside from that, I'm ready to rock and roll. It's a lovely day here in the UK, sort of the end of in the summer, the Indian summers that we always seem to get these days. I don't understand it's nice where you are in Long Island.
it is so beautiful, Russ. It is the most beautiful summer day ever. It is Sunday, the Sunday before our big Labor Day. Well, the whole weekend is the Labor Day weekend, but
Mm.
tomorrow's Labor Day, which is a Monday, and everybody usually has off on that day. It is just beautiful out here. I'm just so excited. I'm enjoying the summer. As soon as I woke up this morning, I could feel the heat, and I immediately walked over to the beach, which is a few blocks from here. Went into the water for a little while, came back. I'm here doing the show. I feel really good. I have a lot of things to talk about today and announce. Russ, this is going to be a fun show. And I promise we're not going to go over time. As soon as your kettle boils, I'm going to play my positive fandom
Y-
intro.
You go on ahead and pay that now because it's on the stove, so it'll take a while, I think.
Okay, so I'm going to play it now. Okay, here we
Yeah,
go,
yeah.
guys. Here we go.
I love it.
Well, thank you so much, CJ, for making this incredible intro, outro. And I play it whenever I just love this thing that he's made for me.
Mm.
Welcome to Positive Fandom's Sunday Brunch live show, guys. It is a holiday weekend, as I have said, and I'm so excited today. It feels very summery. I don't want this summer to ever end. So, this is very difficult time for me right now. I know it's a big holiday, but it also marks the end of a time that I cherish so much. So it's very difficult for me to honestly just go ahead and say, oh, it's the end of the summer. And I'm not going to say the F word, which is fall. I'm not going to say the F word, but that's okay. I know some of you, that's your favorite holiday. Um, but to be honest with you, uh, it- we have so much to look forward to this upcoming season. And also, we have a lot of series that have uh, debuted um, over the past few weeks, and we've all kind of been talking about these different shows and what we think about them. So there is a lot to talk about. And I just wanted to put the spoiler ticker at the bottom, just so you guys know that we may not hit all these topics today. But certainly, I do want to say hello to everybody who is here this morning on this beautiful morning. Tom Jr. Jackson, as always, my collaborator, my friend and moderator. We are all goof people. Tom Jr. Jackson, who
I'll be
says,
right back.
sure, who says, good morning to everybody. Well, good morning to you, Tom Jr. Jackson. And we can hear, I'm just going to mute that just for 1 second. We can hear the kettle was boiling. Russ is making his tea for this morning. Um, Yes, good morning, everybody. Joe Tyson is here. Good morning, Joe Tyson, to you. So nice to see you this morning. I hope you are well, guys. And thank you, Tom. Please like and subscribe to Positive Fandom, guys. I need some extra hours on my viewing hours. So please watch some videos. There's definitely a variety on my channel. Please do check it out, like and subscribe. And thank you for being here. Thalia Meyer is here this morning. Hello, Thalia. How are you? I hope you are well, Thalia. And it's so great to see you here on Positive Fandom. And I'm also streaming on Twitch, guys. So if you would like to be watching me on Twitch, you can. You can also watch me on Odysee, guys. Mikey Lito from Mikey Lito Live is here, guys. Guys, do check out Mikey Lito's channel. Mikey Lito says, good morning, Russ, Tom, and everyone in the chat. Happy Sunday. Well, happy Sunday to you, Mikey Lito. Certainly do check out Mikey Lito Live's channel. And Tom Jr. Jackson says, do you have a YouTube channel or Instagram feed you'd like to get out there? Let us know and we'll share it with everyone. That's right, guys. Here on Sunday Brunch Live, if you were a creator, you have something new coming out, do go ahead and give us that information. We'll put it here in the chat so people can find out more about you guys. So please do that. MCP Scotty is here. How are you, MCP Scotty? And we also have Woodrow, who says font is exceptional. Well, thank you so much, Woodrow. I do appreciate any compliments. I'll take any compliments whatsoever. You know, I reject modernity and embrace masculinity. You can go ahead and compliment all you like here on Sunday Brunch. So thank you so much for that. Norwegian Kryptonian is here. And he says, hello from the capital of Norway. Well, hello to you, Norwegian Kryptonian. So nice to see you this morning. And guys, MCP Scotty does have his own channel. He's also a musician. Guys, go ahead and check out MCP Scotty's music. I believe it's on SoundCloud. I can't remember for sure, but definitely do find out about his creations here. Gary Bando Sandwich Worthington is here. Hello, Gary. I hope you are well. Yes, we also have Russ. I've never seen this name before. Drew Gordon is here.
Hey, Drew.
Hi, Drew Gordon. Welcome to Sunday Brunch on Positive Fandom. It's so nice to see you. And Gary.
We got Keely and Bloodsport and Darth Plato as well.
Yes,
Keely, and Stubble.
Bloodsport, Darth Plato, Stubble. Good morning to all of you. Joker Voice as well. Here's Gary Banda Sandwich's link. Bloodsport 1. Good morning.
Best name on the internet.
Absolutely. Keely Chow says good morning. Well, good morning to you, Keely Chow. And of course, Darth Plato. And I know you have a special greeting that you say to him. It's
Selway.
Yes. So hello, Darth Plato. It's so great to see you here in the morning on Sunday Brunch. Hello, Stubble. I hope you are well, Stubble. I was talking about today. We were talking about different things going on in the fandom. It's always great to see you, Stubble. Always great to have you here on Sunday Brunch. And Drew does say good morning, afternoon from the UK. Well, hello to everybody this morning. As I said, I love the summer, and it is summer. And I know that here in the US, the Labor Day weekend kind of signifies an unofficial end of this summer, guys. So I don't really like the fact that the summer is ending ever. I always want it to be around, and I probably should live in a place where it's summer year round, but that's okay. I live in New York. I'm grateful for what I have. I'm not going to complain, but I would prefer a much longer summer season. So, and Russ, you said that you still are getting a little bit of warm weather where you
it's
are.
Lovely. It's no real change. It's not brutally hot. It's absolutely lovely. I don't like the heat anyway. So yeah, it's all good. It's a lovely day. It's a nice day for my daughter's birthday. So yeah, pretty good.
Well, I do want to wish her a very happy birthday.
18.
Wow, with many happy returns. Russ, she's grown up now.
I know. You were swift to remind me of this morning as well.
Well, we're so happy for her, and we do wish her a very, very happy birthday with many happy returns on this special day. And we're very lucky. You are very lucky to have her, and she's very lucky to have someone like you. So, so everybody out there, many of us, as I said, are celebrating this Labor Day weekend holiday. You're not going to believe what I'm doing today, guys.
What are you doing today?
I couldn't help myself. Well, and there is Mikey Lito's link in the chat, guys. Definitely check that out. And Bloodsport wishes your daughter a very happy birthday.
Oh, thanks so much.
Mikey Lito knows me so well as he asks, I hope if you're not outdoors, I hope you're enjoying the US Open. It's been a great week so far. And yes, Mikey Lito, you clearly know me well. I'm a huge tennis fan and have spent many a day watching tennis matches on my phone at the beach, guys. Yes, I admit it. You go to the beach to get away from everything, and there I am watching tennis, but it's okay, guys. I spend my free time relaxing, enjoying myself. Gary Bando Sandwich Worthington says, congratulations to your daughter. Wonderful birthday wishes, guys. So Bloodsport 1 and Russ are asking, what am I doing today, guys? Well, I am going to see Star Wars The Wrath of Khan in the movie theaters today. And I've never seen it in the theater ever before, ever. So this is going to be my first time going to a movie theater, seeing that film.
That's awesome.
Oh, I am so excited. I can't tell you. And I knew it was coming up because, I found out about it. Obviously, it's not the first time it's ever been put into the movie theater, but I found about this one through, it was on Turner Classic Movies. They were advertising it. And they do put a lot of older films since that's all they show on that channel. And then they were like, oh, Fathom has, Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan. And I said, oh, I got to go see that. So I bought the tickets and I am excited like crazy to see that. I'm I don't know, very, very excited about it. So that's,
well, it's awesome getting to see. It was gutting 5 years ago to the very day. There's a cinema not far from here that was showing Predator for its, I think, 25th anniversary or 30th anniversary or something like that. And I bought tickets for me and Sam, who was only, she was 13 then. And I bought tickets to go and see a Disney film as well. And we sneaked in to watch Predator and they saw us and they threw us out. And tonight it's playing up in London 5 years later. And we swore that we'd go. And of course, her mum's booked this dinner. So we can't go and see Predator again. We've got to wait another 5 years to go and see it together in the cinema.
Oh, no.
I know, right?
I can't believe that.
I know. She's like a massive, massive Predator fan.
Oh my gosh, guys. Well, I have a feeling it's going to come out again. Hopefully you won't have to wait another 5 years, Russ.
Well, I think it'll be like the, 45th anniversary or something like that. If I'm still around, I'll take her. It's like it's become a thing now. It's become a mission. But we have a lot to get through our room. And as I say, I have oh, hey, there's Mario. Hey, Mario and Mark Mitchell. Hey, I've got a nip off on time today because the dinner that I'm not being able to watch Predator because of, but never mind. So yeah, another week in pop culture. I suppose we should get the perfunctory She-Hulk conversation out of the way. Did you watch the latest episode?
Yes, I did. And hello, Mark Mitchell, to you. I did watch the latest episode. Mario Lopez, so great to see you all the way from Portugal. Yes, I did watch the latest She-Hulk episode, and I wasn't sure if I had said hello to Drew Gordon. Yes, I did watch the latest one, and well, I have to be honest with you. For me, it's all about the sex now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as I'm concerned, what they did was that they're trying to get us to think about She-Hulk as a sexual woman. And I quite like that. I love the idea of them making a show where a woman wants to have sex or is thinking about sex. But I also would have liked, I didn't recognize Megan Thee Stallion because she was dressed very conservatively. And I would have liked them to have had Megan Thee Stallion at a concert where she's grinding or doing whatever. And She-Hulk has to go meet her after the concert. They dress She-Hulk up, something outrageous, because I just found it very funny that She-Hulk and Megan Thee Stallion would be twerking in a place, like a kind of a business setting. Just really didn't seem realistic. I guess when they proposed to do it in the courtroom, someone said, oh, that'll never happen. But they figured they could do it in an office, a place of business. But every working professional knows that just doesn't happen unless you're the king of Wall Street and you've shut down the place and you're paying people thousands of dollars. But even today, that just isn't something that usually occurs. So They zoomed in on She-Hulk's ass.
Mm.
So they wanted you to see her. They wanted you to see her ass as she was twerking. So there's no doubt in my mind that they want to sexualize her, which I'm fine with. Go ahead and sexualize her. But we're already up to episode 3 and she hasn't been with a man. So I'm curious as to where this is going, or even with anybody for that matter. You know, she needs some love, Russ.
Yeah, I think she, more than love, I think she needs some new writers. I I kind of stopped caring about this show, and I think that's a bit of a sad indictment as to where Marvel has really got to in terms of it's certainly its television. Oh, thanks, Tom. Much appreciated. Yeah, yeah. She's out at the moment with her mates, and as I say, we're going for dinner. What's she doing today? Hey, she has Henry Cavill hidden in her place, tied up. When the stream's over, she's going to have a way with him. Is that you? Yeah, that's our room. It's not my daughter. I hope. Hey, well, you know, if you turned up with Henry Cavill, what are
The
you going to
only way
say?
I would be with Henry Cavill is if he asked me out first. So that's how that would happen.
Yeah, I I almost could have forgiven She-Hulk if it just was so sort of cack-handed that it was just like I said last week. They found the truth of this character, and the character is true. If you're an extremely privileged sort of social justice liberal warrior who's got millions of pounds in the bank and doesn't have to worry about anything, then yes, these totally are your struggles, and I understand that that's the audience that they're going for. But I found with this episode, they willfully um, attack this character's sort of core audience, and they have this whole sort of bit on social media which saying, why have you made the Hulk a girl, and what's this world coming to, and all that. So it's plainly sort of aware of of what its broader fan base thinks of it, and rather than address the concerns of the people as to why this character has endured for so many years, no, they're going to mock them. And they even go as far as to say, didn't you get your powers in a mob hit gone wrong? Which everybody would have felt would have been a far better origin story, because it was kind of like it would have added some pathos to the story, whereby Banner's got to make this decision. He's, does he give her the blood transfusion to save her life, or does he let her die? She goes into all of that, but no, they have the scene where she has to save a 200-pound man and all of the usual stuff, and it's been done to death. I just thought, yeah, it's kind of mean spirited, actually. When you get to it, it's kind of written from a place of spite, and it's sort of self-aware in that way, but not self-aware in in ways that the whole writing team has been chosen for a reason, by merit of their sex, not by merit of their talent. And they seem to sort of like want to call this out in the show, and it's like, look, dude, that's literally you. That is literally you. Um, yeah. So if we take all those sort of things aside, it's just I don't quite know what this show is. Or like you're saying that they're sexualizing her, but how is she going to have a relationship with any male? How is that going to happen when this show goes out of its way to portray every single man as vile, or or weak? I thought that the whole so her Dennis is suing this elf, not elf. Yeah, she is. It's an was it an Asgardian elf for masquerading as the rap star?
Stalin, yes.
Yeah, Megan the Stallion. Um, and the whole defense rests on the fact that this man is such an unself-aware, narcissistic prick that only he, as this man, would be so stupid as to believe someone as wonderful as Megan the Stallion would deign to go with him, and it's a successful defense. And I don't know, man. It just seems to be coming from a place of real bitterness. So when you say they're sexualizing her, how? Because if any man sort of looks at her in a sexual way, they're evil. They're the male gaze. They shouldn't be doing this. So I don't know what it keeps sort of telling you one thing and showing you another, or showing you one thing and then telling you the opposite. So it's just not very good. And I feel this is the story of Marvel TV shows. There's always like high hopes for them. You know, when Moon Knight came out, the special effects look brilliant, and it's Oscar Isaacs, and he's just, you know, he's so brilliant. He's so brilliant, and there he is in the, you know, the worst show ever. Um, and we had the other one, Hawkeye, with Jeremy Renner. He's brilliant, and except of course it's not about him; it's about his better female sidekick. I don't know. It just, She-Hulk is just crap. It's just shit. And it, you know, I think after the initial rush of hatred, you know, from people who were just so furious with the way that the first episode was done, the way Banner was treated in the first episode, now I sort of see people just, they're just turning off. You know, they're not even, people don't even hate watching this. You know, it's just like, this is garbage. I don't, not interested in this. You know, you look at the character like the Abomination, who has this whole sort of journey, and, you know, whatever he is, and that's all played for laughs. God knows what they're going to do to Matt Murdock. I mean, that Daredevil show makes, as a DC fan, that Daredevil show makes me sick, because if only that had been Batman Year One, it's like the perfect Batman show. I love Daredevil, that show. Even the weaker second season that they said wasn't as great, I loved it. I loved Elodie Young. I thought it was brilliant. And now sort of bringing that character into you know, into this universe, especially this universe, this She-Hulk universe, I just feel that he's going to be played for laughs and denigrated, and, you know, because the show has given me no reason to think otherwise. So yeah, it's a hard pass. I mean, I'll watch it. You know, I'll sacrifice my half an hour or 25 minutes or whatever it is my time for the benefit of positive fandom. But I'm not loving it. It's just, but you know what? It's mercifully short. I mean, that's kind of the thing with She-Hulk. It doesn't outstay its welcome. And if you take away all of the history and all of the stuff aside, it's kind of twee, and I suppose it's quite fun, and I suppose it's quite light-hearted. You know, Benedict Wong, I think is his name. He's always brilliant. He's always good value. Although he is becoming a bit of a go-to cameo guy now, isn't he? You know, he's always in it. So, and then, you know, the breaking of the fourth wall, you know, is just going to be a show that's full of cameos. Well, yes, it kind of is. Yeah, it's imminently forgettable. I doubt if it will get a second season.
I have to be honest with you that this show is not the best writing, and they haven't put the best foot forward for this character. So there have been a lot of mistakes in it. And I think that that's no reflection, of course, on Tatiana. I think she's a
She's
wonderful
fantastic.
actress.
She's a brilliant actress.
And I also think that a lot of the performances in the TV show are excellent. But I also think that, you know, they really didn't think this concept through, because she's not quite well defined enough to say that you know where She-Hulk stands. And I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. You know, somebody came and attacked her in the last episode, and she brushed it off like it was nothing. Oh, I can just turn into She-Hulk. And I'm like, well, has it occurred to you why somebody's trying to jab something into your arm? Like, that's not a normal attack, and you know it. So why are we pretending like she can just kind of brush that off and it's no big deal? I would immediately have grabbed the phone and called my brother and said, somebody tried to stab me with a needle. What the hell is going on? Or called Bruce if I were her and said, Bruce, what the hell is going on? Why is somebody attacking me with a needle? This is not normal behavior. That should have been her first reaction. Anybody would have said that, but she's kind of, you know, brushing it off like it's just another day being the Hulk. And I think that clearly that's the reason why she was asked to be the Hulk for a good portion of her workday in the first place, because they need to get something from her. So ignoring that incredibly important part, I think, is interesting. I don't like that she's inconsistent when she's working. If she's supposed to be the Hulk, then be the Hulk that whole time. And then it quitting time for most attorneys, which is like 8 or 9 o'clock at night anyway, then go ahead and turn back to what, you know, whatever she wants to be. But she's constantly back and forth. When she's in court, she's not necessarily as Hulk. And I'm like, you know, this is normal business hours. You're supposed to be Hulk now. So what's going on? So That was confusing. And for it to already be in episode 3 and she hasn't hooked up with anybody. I mean, not even somebody asking her out because he thinks she's the most beautiful thing and he's fascinated by the fact that she's a Hulk. It's kind of weird because professional women do get asked out. We get asked out on dates. This is what kind of lifestyle does this person have that they're trying to portray? But they're okay with the twerking. They're okay with the
They're okay with the twerking. Well, I suppose if anybody asks her out or says, "Hey, can I buy you a drink?" She'll just Hulk out and throw them up against the wall like she did when those guys came up to her outside the bar. So the show kind of writes itself into its own problems, and we've discussed this before. You can't, your character can't, and I know in sitcoms characters aren't supposed to grow, and this is absolutely fine, but this isn't really a sitcom, is it? I don't know what this show is. I don't know what it's supposed to be. It's just a sort of series of scenes that are sort of chucked together, and this, we're going to be spiteful about the Avengers. We're going to make fun of Captain America. We're going to make, what is it? She says that the Avengers is just a sort of club for, billionaire narcissists and orphans. And do you get healthcare? And do you get this? No, you don't. You don't get any of that. Okay, so yeah, fuck the
but you
patriarchy.
wouldn't want
Well,
healthcare if
hold on
you
a
were a
sec. Hold
billionaire.
on.
Like it
Yeah,
doesn't even make any sense what you
but
say.
the,
Do you get a 401k plan, but you're a billionaire? What?
yeah, but even so, this billionaire, sacrificed his life to save the universe. Oh, that's just that's just crap. But here's the thing. So this is like a f the patriarchy thing, and that's all fine. But then she goes and gets offered a job by an old white man. Does she ask him, "Do I get healthcare? How much money do I get? What's this role about?" No, she just meekly accepts it because white guy throws her a bone and she's going to take the job. So what's that showing you? It's telling you these things need to be taken down. These are horrible. But oh yes, no, I want the job. Thank you very much. This is the best thing I could get. It, what
She would have
what is it
started
saying?
she would have started her own company.
Yeah, like Matt Murdock.
Yes, and Drew Gordon feels that by her twerking, it's alienating the guys who aren't ass men. And you know something, Drew? I agree. I think there should be something for everybody. They should have at least had either Megan or somebody else topless, so that those of us who appreciate seeing beautiful breasts, regardless of what we like, can at least have some options out there, guys.
Bring me the Power Girl TV show. I will write that show for you. I love Power Girl. She's my favorite.
And Gary Bando Sandwiches, She-gasm, She-Hulk smash. We also had some other comments that I just kind of showed.
Sure.
Joker Voice says that this goes against everything the writer's message about being catcalled and objectified. So many people have made that point. Darth Plato says, and I had never heard of twerking either. It just means like if you go to a strip joint, somebody shakes their essentially body parts in front of you to entice you to put money into their G-string. Who did you like better, Megan Thee Stallion or Cardi B? I think dog pound one. If I had to choose between the two, it would be Cardi B. Cardi B seems a little bit more friendly than Megan, has a little bit of a chip on her shoulder. However, they're both incredibly beautiful women. Gee, they should have had both of them and then just throw in that other chick, the one, I can't remember her name, from Trinidad. That would have been just like the three graces in She-Hulk. To have those three women in there. And of course, I'm joking, guys. Darth Plato says he's never heard of her, and that's fine. I personally think she has a new album coming out. And that's why she's in the show. But I'm always thinking it from a marketer's point of view, guys. Tom Jr. Jackson says, check out his channel. He has a review on some of the latest shows, guys. Check out Tom Jr. Jackson's channel, guys, our moderator here. Tom also has an Instagram channel or account where he does these amazing photographs with his Funko Pops. So also check that out. Joker Voice is definitely letting his opinion be heard here. She-Hulk, god awful. Rings of Power, boring, and House of the Dragon, better than both. Well, thank you. And Darth Plato reiterates Mikey Lito saying, which I can't remember who said it first in this broadcast, but watch content form opinion.
That's Mikey. That's Mikey.
And then, of course, just for those of us who, I think this is great. Run 10 laps. I agree, guys. I think that's very important. And Drew Gordon recommends Irma Vep, and I know that stars Alicia Vikander, who, lucky girl, is married to Mike Fassbinder, and they just had their first kid. Happy days indeed. He says it's excellent and worth checking out. In his opinion, well, we certainly will check it out. Drew Gordon, thank you for the recommendation. I think Irma Vep is a remake, guys, of an older film. I can't remember all the details, but if I remember, I've heard nothing but good things about Alicia Vikander's performance in it. Also, John Ware Jr. is here. Hello, John Ware Jr. John Ware says there's no heart in She-Hulk. The production pays for the Megan cameo, but not a texture artist for the main character's wardrobe and skin for wide shots. That is quite true. Why are
Yeah,
they dropping the ball? We saw it in Kenobi when they didn't do the face of Anakin and he looked like he was a 40-year-old Padawan. We've keep
yeah.
seeing these missteps over and over. The under the cloak scene. Why do these missteps keep happening? Somebody's pushing them through. Back in the day, Russ, this would have never happened. And if it did, it would be some sort of comment on a board somewhere saying, hey, at 5 minutes 37 seconds, they accidentally forgot to unbutton someone's jacket. And in the scene, he appears buttoned, unbuttoned, and then buttoned again. And people would laugh about it. But we're seeing this more and more. And
I
it's so
know. There's the one scene where she comes into the office as She-Hulk, and she's just sort of glides in, like it's really bad. It's really bad. So she sort of morphs into the room, when she's walking. It's a really. Oh, hey, Luminara.
Hi,
Um,
Nara, 843.
um, yeah, it's. I don't know. It just shows a sort of lack of care. I don't know, because I can't imagine that any Marvel production. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Um, it just it all seems to be, as has been often said on streams and streams and streams. It's just about getting this show. We've launched this show. Let's get this show out of the way so it can lead on to our next show.
Yes, and Joker Voice does say that Script Doctor mentioned that they just hiring people who don't care about the IPs. And we're taking it a bit farther too. Someone has to push through the final product, everybody. Somebody has to sign off on this and say, yes, this is what we want everyone to see. Well, honestly, those suit pants, and I have to tell you, as a working professional, I've worn a ton of suit pants in my life, and my suit pants never looked like that. So
Mhm.
I can tell you from personal experience, that's not what they look like. Norwegian Kryptonian says if they want to focus on a woman's sexual desires, shouldn't they make the show a little more adult? Something in the direction of Sex and the City show? Yes, they should. And it should have been like Peacemaker. Why not do it like Peacemaker? That show was fun. It was quirky. It had some weird parts. I don't even know whether I understand everything that happened in Peacemaker, but boy, I love that show. And I wasn't even going to watch it. And I loved it. So sometimes shows can surprise you, but they had to go adult with
See,
Peacemaker. It
see,
couldn't.
with Peacemaker, that was a great example of, we talk a lot about the woke, and we know that, what's his name, James Gunn, is, he's a very, very liberal guy. He's very, very woke. And then that last scene of because Peacemaker is not woke. That character is not. He's all about, killing peace for America. Peace for America, one death at a time, or whatever it is. He says yes, he has a change of heart. And there's this whole speech by the Asian cop. She's possessed by their aliens at the end of it, and she goes on this liberal rant that sort of talks about, anti-vaxxers, anti-maskers, Trumpers, all this stuff, and she absolutely lays all this sort of woke stuff on, and he just goes, activate torpedo, and he like torpedoes her entire argument. And okay, fine, it doesn't matter what side of the fence you come down on, but that show was self-aware enough to list it out, get its point out, and say, yeah, but there's another point, and Peacemaker has the other point. And that was smart, and everybody loved it, and everybody was giving it rounds of applause. And can we have Peacemaker season 2? It's, harkening back to that show. It was the one show that if you turned on Midnight's Edge, or you turned on the Drill, or however thing you turned on, it's almost like Cobra Kai. People loved it. Snyder fans loved it. Snyder haters loved it. right? It was just such a great show. So yeah, James Gunn has the blueprint. Do that, Marvel. If you don't want to have these shows that are continually just get people excited, people are going to give you a chance, and they give you chance after chance, and you let them down constantly, constantly, constantly. And I think while their cinematic output, activate human torpedo. Thank you, Darth Plato. You know, while their cinematic output is still making bank, it's starting to run out of its universal acclaim. So your adult audience, I think, is starting to get a little bit tired of the excesses of Taika Waititi, the excesses of having to have seen every single show in the Marvel universe to understand what's happening in Doctor Strange. It's interesting. It's interesting times, and as I've said so many times before, this is carpe diem moment for Warner Brothers. This is the time to strike. While you've got Marvel on the ropes, and Marvel is, been the undisputed champion for such a long time, and now Marvel's like the champion that's been on top for too long, and is just staying around for fight after fight, and yeah, it's still winning, but he's becoming punch drunk.
Yeah, that's a very good analogy. And guys, do check out Joker Voice's channel on YouTube. And Joker Voice makes a very interesting point about the social media segment, which is perhaps what you were referring to, Russ. And that scene would never exist under,
Was it say here? The social media segment is proof that we, the fandom, are getting under their skin. If these shows were soaring at the top viewership charts, that scene would never exist. Maybe not Joker Voice. I more think that this is a product of those meetings that they had. That this with Kenobi, they had Moses Ingram come out before anybody had said anything that she was going to get attacked. And there were going to be racist trolls. And so these conversations are going on within the ivory towers of Marvel and DC and all the rest of the places. And I really think this was an fu. This was an fu to the fans. It's almost Ryan Johnson-esque in its tone deafness. You know, as I've said before about The Last Jedi, I don't care if you want to subvert Star Wars, but you have to tell a brilliant story to do that. And Ryan Johnson just didn't. That film was crap and it didn't make any sense. The thing with the bomber going in and there's 90 Star Destroyers lined up, nobody shoots it, they're chasing a ship through all of that stuff. The film doesn't make sense. So you've got to be on point to deconstruct. You've got to be on point, and you've got to be on point if you want to have a dig at your audience and say, no, we know what you're like and this is why you're wrong. But that show is, the writers are so effing inept at everything that they're doing that this just comes across as a giant coping session for a bunch of bitter ladies. And I hope that doesn't make me sound like a misogynist, but it's misandrist is their show. It comes across as, that bit was so mean spirited, and then the whole plot about Dennis and only succeeding because he's such a bellend. It tells you all you need to know about the hearts of the writers. It's like, I don't know. What was it we were saying the other day? Aram and I were talking offline, and we were saying it's kind of like you know writing Roots from the perspective of the guy that runs the farm. Like, oh god, and this terrible stuff that he's got to go through and all the rest of it. It's like, no, don't do that. This is insane. This is nastiness, is what you're doing. So yeah.
Well, you make a good point with this, and I do want to mention Joker Voice's channel. Guys, check out Joker Voice on YouTube and subscribe to his channel, please, guys. And getting back to kind of what Joker Voice is saying, and what we were kind of saying, or at least some of the things that we were talking about. I do want to mention that on Monday, September 12th, I am going to be premiering my new show on the PGS. That's right. So it's going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The ladies of the PGS. And one of the first topics we're going to be talking about is, why won't the artist let the work speak for itself? And we are seeing a lot of, like what you mentioned, where the actress who played Reva came out with this big article about the issues with it. And they're not necessarily telling us what to expect and what a great actress she is and how excited we are to have her on board. The conversation was somewhat of a thorny topic and not hopeful or positive in any way. And so, I'm questioning, as many of us are questioning, why can't the artist let the work speak for itself? After all, we're all entitled to our own interpretation of this stuff. And, the question is, why are they being so emphatic in sharing what we should think about it? So it's going to be the first topic for the first show.
I'm
Um,
excited about this show. I think this is going to be, absolutely awesome. I hope you're going to get some good guests on there.
Yes, I'm working on getting good guests. It is the ladies of the PGS. It's not solely only ladies, but since I am a PGS lady, I figured I would start the show and start to talk about some of the topics that we are all talking about. And of course, guys, as you know, I have a show that's called Toxic Male Appreciation. So this is not going to be an ordinary show. It's going to be something where I'm embracing masculinity all the way. We are going to be talking Star Trek and Star Wars, everything that the PGS loves and more.
I
So,
have a question. Oh, sorry.
yes, what is the question?
So in the chat here, there's two things that happen. First of all, I don't know if you ever saw Ghostbusters when they talk about crossing the streams. What will happen? Dogs and cats living together. Well, apparently there's a comment way up the top where Mikey Leto and I actually agree for the first time on something in positive fandom, but that was way back. But he says something down here. Says actually, Russ, it kind of reminds me of Neil Gaiman and his references in The Sandman. And I'm not sure what you're driving at there, Mikey. So if you could extrapolate a little bit, hopefully I can pick up on that for
Yes,
you later.
definitely, Mikey. Do clarify. We know you're here, Mikey Lido Live. And also check out Tom's Funko pics. He's shared his link here, guys. You will love them. I love them. They always put a smile on my face. Nathan Trujillo. Hi, Nathan. How are you today? Says, I'm confused. I don't see She-Hulk showing men as weak. It's very sitcom-y because it uses stereotypes, but that's for humor's sake. Respect your thoughts, though, Russ. Your book covers are epic.
Yeah, it's a
Well,
bit
thank
pity about the content, Nathan, but, but thank you very much. The
you.
covers are epic.
Thank you, Nathan, for sharing your thoughts. A lot of people did find it very sitcom-y.
Mm.
And I'm almost at a point where I have to ignore 90% of the show and just focus on the sex parts, because from the very beginning, they presented her as being somebody who was interested in dating and picking up guys and getting shots at the bar. And I thought, yeah, this is the show for me. This is going to be a fun romp. She's going to kind of, cut loose. And I think it would have been very interesting if being She-Hulk had made her more of a sexual person. But that's just my fantasy, guys. You don't have to grab onto that. But it would have been funny if it made her way too overly sexy to a point where she was shagging people and then she's like, "Oh my god, what did I do?" And then they're like, "You have to be She-Hulk all the time." She's like, "What? I have to be She-Hulk all the time? Do you realize what's going to happen?" like but this
Sure,
is
but
my
I struggle to see how she's going to be approached by any man in this show because of the way that they set men up in the show. But
yes, and
I respect what you're saying there, Nathan. You know what? Look, I'm kind on this particular positive fandom. Actually, I'm in the minority here because I don't actively don't like this show. I think it's objectively garbage. It's not just my subjective opinion. I think it's poorly written, mean spirited shit. But when we were talking about this the first and second week it came out, actually, Nathan, everyone's going, no, it's all right, it's all right. You're overreacting, Russ. It's fine. And I love that. If people are enjoying this show, great. It's just not for me. I don't particularly like it. Mikey extrapolates here though, just to go back to that before we go to Stubble. Um, Mikey says the F you to the audience at the fandom Taliban. Yeah, that's Gaiman was actively trolling people for sure. He sort of actively went out to do that, and that's fine. These are totally his characters. It just struck me as a little bit different with She-Hulk, Mikey. Um, I don't know, man. That was like an overt attack. Whereas what Gaiman was saying, whether you agree with him or not, was if he'd have written Sandman today, he would have made Death a person of color, and he would have done this and he would have done that. It's just nobody really thought about that in the 1980s because it was nearly half a century ago now, and attitudes and everything was completely different. The question I would say though, Mikey, is that right? Is that what you should be doing? As a creator with your creations, you should be allowed to do whatever you want, and I would support that. But actively sort of going out of your way to even with the artwork when you know, She-Hulk, at the end of the show, you've got all this artwork, and she's like a Comic Con, and all the guys are like sort of, you know, really, you know, overweight and miserable looking, and it just seems like that they're taking a swipe at the people, at the archetypal comic book guy, as you see in the in the Simpsons. I don't know. It just seems it's a weird thing to do, to come out and attack your fans, but Disney have got previous, or priors, as they say in the state. You know, they've got priors at this. They do it all the time, and they normally do it preemptively. So yeah, but
Yeah,
thank you for clarifying, mate. I appreciate that.
that's a good point. John Ware Jr. Makes a very good point to me, where he talks about how, although they are trying to sexualize She-Hulk, so to speak, um, she's just not sensuous or alluring. And I agree. That's why I was kind of hoping when Megan Lee Stallion came on, that sensuality and alluring part would happen. Kind of like what they did with the Peacemaker, where they pop into this couple's apartment of swingers, and then a few episodes later you see her in bed uh, with both of the superheroes. I think that sort of innuendo, if you will, it's not subtle at all, and it's not an innuendo, I guess, if they're in bed together, but the idea of the potential of them hooking up or something like that, where you're scantily dressed or whatever it is so appealing because of what can happen. And it certainly wouldn't be quirky or whiny, right, John? We don't want quirky or whiny. We want her to be more
Well,
sexual.
and John
She's
Wayne
more
Jr. I
attractive.
would say this. I would say this. You only got to look at Arum in real life to see what a strong, powerful, independent woman is. This is a woman that, you know, manages her home, looks after an elderly person, has a hugely responsible, and I'm sure well-paying job for the government of the United States of America. She's a strong, powerful woman. That doesn't You don't have to hate men to be a strong, powerful woman. So this sort of, if She-Hulk was sexualized and she likes guys and she likes, you know, muscly dudes or whatever dudes that she happens to like, that's fine. She can still be She-Hulk and do that. But the show sort of goes out of its way to portray, you know, men as villains. So we come back full circle. You know, who is she? How is she going to be sexual when the show goes out of its way to portray every single guy as that? However, given the way that the show is written, they'll just probably introduce some absolute legend, and the stance on him will be completely different. And they won't see how jarring that is. They won't see how that doesn't fit into the theme and style of their show. They just, oh no, now we're going to introduce a really cool guy. Okay, cool. He's a really cool guy, and that'll be there for one episode.
Yeah. First of all, thank you, Russ, for the kind words. That was very nice of you to say that. And I do appreciate it, because it is a lot of hard work doing this. That is so kind. Drew, I haven't seen Irma Vep, and I'm sorry. But
Mm.
we will. We're going to check it out. And thank you, Mike Alito and Big Dog Pound One, for saying you love Wong. Everybody loves Wong. We're going to check out Irma Vep for you. I promise that. And also, Darth Plato says that the guys who attacked She-Hulk, I hope I'm saying the right ones, were supposed to be the Wrecking Crew. And am I saying that correct, Russ?
Yeah, the Wrecking Crew. Yeah.
I heard someone say they seem more like, some kind of low level gangsters. Not quite. I don't know what the Wrecking Crew is supposed to be like, but honestly, I still think that after someone trying to stab a needle in my arm, I'm on
Mm.
the phone to 911. So,
Talk, Talking of getting a shot in the arm, I tell you what has been a shot in the arm, um, is House of the Dragon. That has been a shot in the arm. Uh,
yes.
So we just say here, what is it Tom says? Twerking was over the top of Sir. That actually made me laugh. Somehow it was just the thing. Great. Post-credit scene was done because Titania Masani is a huge Megan Thee Stallion fan. I think it was the writer or director said it's done as a gift for her. Great. But yeah, I guess we've picked over the bones of episode 3 or 4 of She-Hulk. I guess we need to move on to episode 2 of House of the Dragon. Here it
We
is. There it
will.
is. Across the streams.
And Michael, yes, the streams have been crossed. Mikey Lito says, for the first time in the history of positive fandom, I am in complete agreement with Russ. So congratulations, Jessica McGraw and Kat Garrett. I'm sorry. I love it. Darth Plato says we can't do Power Girl without
We
TNA.
cannot. We cannot. She
I
is the
can't
ultimate. I
agree with
love
you
her.
guys more. Yes, thank you. Joker Voice clarifies that twerking has to do with Atlanta strippers. And thank you so much. And thank you,
Speaking
Bloodsport.
from personal experience, there, Joker voice. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Bloodsport. It was Nicki Minaj who I feel could have done the triumph, the three graces that could have made this, thing really pop, if you will, no pun intended. Would have been Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, and Megan Thee Stallion. And this series would have taken such a different term right now. And I'm sorry, Gary, Banda Sandwich. Lizzo is not going to be here. Um, sorry. And of course, Luminara says that it is a dance mostly done in hip hop music, sometimes involuntary. And I admit to twerking myself, Luminara 843. Perhaps it doesn't look like Megan Thee Stallion's twerking, but I can assure you I enjoy it. So that's okay. And Nathan, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Russ. I just want to make sure I got a good
Sure,
part
sure, sure, sure,
of
sure.
fans here. Tom Jr. Jackson says House of the Dragon. Are we doing House of the Dragon or Wings of Power, Russ? I kept calling it Rings of Fire all week.
Yeah. Johnny Cash.
It's just hilarious. People kept saying, is this a review of Rings of Power or Rings of Fire? I had to put something on there. Like, I'm sorry, I kept calling it Rings of Fire. Russ, where should we go first?
I think House of the Dragon. Because I think there'll probably be an extended discussion with the chat around this. We just must say goodbye to Mikey. He says, "Listen, my love to Russ, Aram, and the crew. Check out Retro Nerd Girls deep dive into Obi-Wan Kenobi posted on her channel this morning. I can't wait to see that." Mikey says that he has family chores, so he's out. Ciao, bye for now. So see you later, Mikey. Lovely chatting
Hi,
as always.
Mikey. And I also want to welcome, and I think I saw OG Star Wars when Star Wars was just Star Wars. Hello, OG Star Wars when Star Wars was just Star Wars, who says, by far the best Marvel media was Spider-Man No Way Home. And that's
Mhm.
because Sony wouldn't let Disney ruin it with politics. And you certainly did hit the nail on the head with that one, OG fan, when Star Wars was just Star Wars. It's such a pleasure to see you here today. Yes. So, oh yes, and thank you, Tom. I also am on Odysee, guys. So if you're watching Odysee, you can always watch me there. Um, so if you guys are enjoying the content, you can always throw me some support on Stream Elements, everybody. I do have a Stream Elements account, and I do appreciate you all for being here this morning. And I did want to say we are also mentioning if you want to get in contact with Russ. Here is his contact information at russwhitfield.com. Russ is a well-known author of the Gladiatrix series and a screenplay writer. So, guys, do check out Russ's work here. We also have Mark Goes Blind Gaming. How are
Oh, hey,
you?
man.
Hey, you know what? Long natural essential. Marco's Blind Gaming, and he says that it takes the power for him to sleep. Well, we all have different effects from this entertainment. The Hidden is here. Hello, The Hidden. It's so good to see you
The
here.
hidden is
Hey,
revealed.
The Hidden is revealed after all this time. We're so happy to have you here. Um, and also, let's see, I just want to make sure I got everybody here who may have been here. Yes, we also have, oh, yes, thank you, Tom, for doing this. Guys, I did a review of The Princess, everybody. The Princess is an HBO Max documentary about Princess Diana. And so I did do a review of it on my channel. It is somewhat of an emotional review. I am a huge I've been a big fan of Princess Diana's from the beginning. Please do check out the documentary. And let me know what your thoughts are about the documentary. I think that the documentary was a beautiful, kind of synopsis of everything that has happened. And I think, if anything, guys, the one thing I always take away from it is really the be kind message, but also that none of us are promised tomorrow. She died at a very young age. Please do check it out on my channel, my review of The Princess. So also the same for you, Joker Voice. You have a great weekend, Joker Voice. It's so great to see you here. And Darth Plato reminds me it's Gladi A Tricks. Am I saying it right, Russ?
It's gladiatrix. I think he's referring to all the sex in it, though.
Ah, well, I yes, absolutely. There is some wonderful things in it for sure. All right, Russ. So our topic is,
House of the Dragon.
well, Russ, I'm just going to tell you that I've been loving House of the Dragon, and um, about the only thing that I would like to see a little bit more in House of the Dragon is, of course, I want to see some more knights fighting and, blood, guts being torn open and things of that nature. Because even I like to see some of the brutality that I grew to love, and
Mm.
even had to cover my eyes in on Game of Thrones. What are your thoughts about House of the Dragon?
I absolutely love it. I was watching a reviewer who I vehemently disagree with on a number of subjects, a guy called Little Platoon, who's sort of garnering a lot of followers lately, and he describes Damon as alcoholic Legolas. Yeah, he just looks like an alcoholic Legolas. When once he said it, I couldn't be unseen, and I completely got it. It was like, it was absolutely hilarious. What do I think of House of Dragon? I think it's excellent. To your point about battles and things like that, I wonder if HBO Warners were not sure as to how people would react on this show. So whilst they spent a goodly degree of money on it, I don't know if their budget, if their plan was to have a number of seasons of this. Maybe it was maybe this particular epoch or this particular tale will be wrapped up at the end of episode 10 with no with a possibility to continue, but certainly no open end. That would be my guess. So to the battles and stuff like that, well, battles cost money, and maybe they're um, saving saving up their bang for their buck to give us something really really decent. Because I guess there's going to be a big naval battle, which is going to be even more difficult to do with CGIC and all of that stuff. But just in terms of how it's rattling along with its plot, it's sort of almost like the anti Game of Thrones. Um, it assumes Game of Thrones, you get to see, and I'm not this. I got this from the Little Platoon review, and I thought it was a really really good point. When he talks about Game of Thrones, he's saying when you look at the world of Game of Thrones through their characters, each one of those characters is put into a new situation. So Ned Stark is moved from Winterfell into the court, and you see the machinations of the court through his eyes because it's all new to you. Jon Snow gets sent off to the wall, and you see that because he's new at the wall. Arya runs away, and she gets to see the world as it is, through her eyes. So you're introduced to the whole thing. Whereas with House of the Dragon, you're sort of dropped into it, and these characters already have relationships, and they already there's history there already, and you're sort of having to catch up on that. And I think it does it quickly, I think it does it expediently. But where they've really spent money, or where they've really done their research in House of the Dragon, is with the actors. Like, even if the script isn't great at times, and like, I've heard this and I thought, no, I thought the script is absolutely fine. It delivers, that sort of Shakespearean-esque dialogue, but because it's Paddy Considine, because it's Matt Smith, because it's Rhys Ifans, they just bring so much gravitas to it, and all of the main stuff is happening in the small council, which is just like, dudes sitting at a table talking. And if there's any script writers here in the chat, or any writers at all, it's the one thing they tell you not to do is not to have the dinner table conversation, because it's literally the most boring thing you can do, and it's the big no-no when it comes to script writing. Yet the whole fucking show is round the dinner table, yet somehow it manages to be awesome. There is no scenery that Matt Smith does not chew. That guy goes in for seconds and thirds. What about second scenery chewing? Matt Smith is there for it all day long. And that reveal of his character when Rhys Evans goes off, Lord Hightower goes off to confront him about nicking the dragon's egg and all that sort of stuff, and Rhaenyra shows up, and there's a bit of a showdown, and you just realise that he doesn't give a shit. He just
Yeah.
he just he just wants the attention.
Yes, he's
He
just
just
effing
wants the
around.
attention. It's kind of like, how shallow is this guy, and how awesome is he at the same time? It's like
He single-handedly caused a crisis,
Yeah.
and Matt Smith was incredible in The Crown, which I mentioned last week
Mhm.
that I absolutely loved him in that. Not an easy show to act in. You have to be top form to play those characters with the accents, with the role, with everything that you'll be criticized on playing one of the royals, but he did it
Mhm.
so incredibly well. He is so much fun, but from what I understand, Russ, he's not necessarily the bad guy from what you've said and from what I've heard from other people, that there are more baddies to come.
Well, yeah, I think, but that's the whole thing with George R. R. Martin, who's freely admitted himself that he is the anti-Tolkien in a way. Tolkien is he uses all the same tropes, if all the same world as Tolkien, if you like, with the sans the elves and the dwarves, but Tolkien's very clear cut. There are goodies, and it's about the triumph over evil, and that's what it is. In Game of Thrones and now House of Dragon, everyone's just got an agenda. So Matt Smith is doing the right thing as far as Daemon is concerned. Daemon wants to be the king, and he can't see why anybody else should be the king after his brother dies. It's ridiculous. He's obviously in his world the best for the job. Hightower wants to be in control of Westeros, so he wants his daughter in position. Um, oh God, the Sea King, what's his name?
I know who
The
you're talking about
Yeah,
with the
he
dreadlocks.
he thinks it makes sense for his family to be married into the line, because then the two most powerful houses together, it will bring stability, it will bring peace. He doesn't care about
And
his
he,
daughter.
yeah, and he just wants to have the connection and the power too. So
Correct. That's what they're all after. And then you get that lovely little scene at the end, where he and Matt Smith are sort of plotting to sort of do something epic, take on these pirates, and really show the king as sort of indecisive, and because obviously the Sea Lord feels slighted. Lord Corris, is it? I just can't remember. I'm so sorry. Yeah, he feels slighted because he'd maneuvered his daughter into position to marry the king, and then the king has already fallen for Alicent, as per the
yes,
machinations of Hightower.
right.
Um, this is great stuff. This is back to, if not vintage Game of Thrones, certainly, I think over the past years, since the end of Game of Thrones, and actually before that, the bar is set so low now that even something halfway decent is gonna. It's a bit like Prey. Someone said this to me about Prey. Prey's all right. I loved it. I thought it was awesome, right? And I especially loved it in the sort of afterglow of having watched it, and really, really loved it. But then if you take a step back, is it that great? Well, maybe not. Maybe it's got flaws, but it was just so good because we've been served up so much garbage lately. Anything halfway decent is going to get lavish with praise. So I think House of the Dragon now has a pass, right? It's got a pass because we've been hurt by Game of Thrones, and all of a sudden this seems like a little bit of a return to form. And there's other shows that are going on in the fantasy genre, which we're going to come on to, that are not delivering in this, or perhaps not delivering in the same way that House of the Dragon is. It's basically seemingly has gone through the comments about Game of Thrones and said, "Oh, you like this, you like the intrigue, you like the Targaryens, you like the boobs, you like the violence, and we're going to put all of that stuff into this show for you because this is what you liked, and we hope you like this." And it's like, I'm entertained. I'm
Yeah,
entertained.
and they're capturing every gaze, male and female.
Hmm.
There's a lot to enjoy, whether you like men, whether you like women, both, neither. There's so much to enjoy here. Michael Preston, hello to you and
Hey, Michael.
welcome. Nice for you to be here today. And I think that it's going to amaze us. We're seeing. I had mentioned, and I don't say this very often, but I'd mentioned on Saturday night to Robert that House of the Dragon has the best production design and costuming that I've ever seen in my entire life. And I have to mention it because it was so flawless.
Mm.
People commented that the wigs look like crap. Yeah, maybe they were not the best color, or they could have toned it. And if you have platinum blonde hair, sometimes it appears a different color. I get that. You're right. I'm not saying that the makeup and the hair were perfect. I thought it looked. I didn't really find anything wrong with it. But to look at those costumes and to look at the world they created, you are back in that world. Every
Hmm.
second you watch the show, you are back there. And I look at those costumes and drool. They are like designer couture costumes for television and movies. The person who did it is a genius. Robert interviewed them.
Mm-hmm.
And I just so envious to speak to this costume designer and even the production designer who has the herewithal to go ahead and say, I'm going to create what it was like 200 years ago. And I know exactly what to do. This person is a genius, Russ, and everybody in the chat. What an incredible ability they have. I'm blown away just by that also. And sometimes that can be 90% of the show. I'm not saying the writing isn't important. I'm not saying the actors' performances aren't important, but sometimes creating that idea, making you believe you are there in a show where they need to actually picture it for you, is so important in creating the fantasy, so important in creating the mystery and the excitement.
The immersion in the world, like you don't question it, do you? Because it looks so awesome.
It really did. And I somehow I have to speak to this costume designer, the production designer. Apparently they have hundreds of people working on these costumes. And of course, in a show like this where they have armor specialists, they have weapons specialists, all of those guys too. Everybody who played their part in this, thank you so much for making such an effort to support the actors when they go on. The actors have that confidence when they're doing a show like this because they know how much work was put into it. It's congratulations to everyone who worked on House of the Dragon production. And we're only up to episode 2, and I'm already lauding them for an incredible job well done. So that's what I thought.
Talking of women of power, though, there's that scene in the second episode when Rhaenyra has a sparring match with the queen that never was, and that, you see, these are both strong and powerful women, right? At no point are they drawing swords on each other or fighting each other or anything like that. They are just stabbing each other with verbal barbs. It was incredibly well written, incredibly well performed. Neither one was going to give ground. It was just great. You know, the envy and the bitterness of this older woman who never got the chance to be the queen, you know, the queen that never was, looking at this one that is going to be the queen possibly, and she's like, they're never going to let you be the queen, and you know, and all that kind of stuff. And she's like, oh no, you know, that was you, it's not me, you know, I will be the queen. You know, it was so good. It was so good. It's just
It
it's
was
like,
exactly that kind of verbal sparring and ability that you see. It's a more intelligent way of letting us know that they're not on each other's side and they're going to
mm,
fight for what each of them think is right. And you know, that's the passion of Game of Thrones. That's the passion of now House of Dragon that we're expecting.
mm,
And we're expecting strong characters. There are no weak survivors in
mm,
House of the Dragon, and there are no weak survivors in Game of Thrones. Although, you know, one could argue that, you know, there would be someone who slips through, but I don't think we're going to see that here. I think we're going to continue to see legitimate, well-written characters that have incredible development throughout the show, which we're seeing. Clearly, the emotions and feelings were natural, Russ. These
mm,
were natural thoughts. And to be able to incorporate that into a show where you're reaching this level of perfection between two characters, pushing them to the limits where they have this incredible acting ability, we could feel the tension between the two of them. You could cut it with a knife,
yep,
the air. And that's what we want to see. We want to see passion like that on the screen. They didn't have to pick up a weapon because they had weapons with words, with their eyes, and the feelings between them, it was real for me, Russ. It was
mm,
so real.
yep. Like, you know, it's running at a high score for me at the moment. I hope it doesn't implode. It doesn't have the feel of a show that's suddenly going to start going off on tangents. It seems to be very clear. You know, there's a lot of time jumps in this series apparently, so we're going to get to see a lot of development and a lot, you know, previously on, you know, oh, this happened, that happened. But I'm going to forgive it whatever flaws it has because it's hooked me in. It's hooked me in. It's entertained me. You know, I can't wait for the next episode. I'm looking forward to I think tomorrow or tonight. Tomorrow for me, I guess. I'm looking forward to watching the next one. You know, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. In a way, he segues, that I'm just not looking forward to Rings of Power. Have you seen the first 2 episodes, RM?
I have, and I just want to mention again for you, all of you, we're at the 1 hour mark, and I normally play my promo again, but I did want to say that on Monday, September 12th at 6 p.m. Eastern on the Post Geek Singularity, I will be premiering my new show, Ladies of the PGS. We embrace masculinity, sex, and conversation on sci-fi, fantasy, and horror that includes Star Wars, Star Trek, and so much more. I hope to see you all there, guys. And I'm so excited about the show. Russ has been helping me with this show. And everybody, I so appreciate your support, all of you who are here, and I really do appreciate it. So um, now talking about the next topic, everybody, the Rings of Power. And I'm going to play my promo just one more time. Just one more time, just to see it. And it's only 20 seconds, but you guys are here on Positive Fandom's show, Sunday Brunch on Positive. And I do want to thank CJ for that wonderful music, the video, everything, guys. And Blood Sport 1. I feel like I should be saying it that way, but I'm not. Says Rings of Power. So yes, you know something, I have a lot to say about the show, and I came down pretty hard on the show in the sense of the look of the show. There may be people who love the look of the show. It wasn't quite my taste. I felt that overall, in the Rings of Power, which I kept mistakenly calling the Rings of Fire as I reviewed it on my channel, and I apologize. I do want to say that the actors were great in the show, and I also want to say that the people who worked on the show did put in a lot of effort to make the show look a certain way. It certainly isn't devoid of people who worked hard on it. I can tell that people worked hard on this show. Now, with that being said, and congratulations to everybody who put out this hard work, who made the production come to fruition. We have the show Rings of Power. I was going to say that I felt that the design of let's say the costumes and overall the look of quite a few of the characters in the show looked dirty to me. You know, everything looked kind of unkept, deconstructed, and perhaps that's what they're going for. They want a deconstructed version, because honestly, trying to replicate what Peter Jackson, I hope I said the right name, did with Lord of the Rings and with The Hobbit, you know, I think might be very, very difficult to do. And I wouldn't want to be compared to that. But I also think that if they're going to make the show look like it's an off-Broadway version of a Shakespeare's Midsummer's Night Dream, then go ahead and pump up the creativity level. Go even further with what you're doing. Give us some costumes we've never seen before, something so out there that we couldn't mistake it for, you know, some other show. It would be this unique creation that Amazon's version of. They could even put it Amazon's version of interpretation of, and be proud of something new that looks incredible. To me, this didn't look great because you couldn't distinguish the elves from the regular people sometimes. And some of the elves looked old, which I'm not accustomed to seeing. And the other thing that I was going to say is, as much as all the different things that happened in the show, and I did make notes, but some of the things that stood out to me is that there's an elf who falls in love with this woman, who I'm assuming is human. And he's just found out. And guys, these are spoilers. I have spoilers down there, right, Russ? It says spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
She's just found out that after being posted in the area where she lives for 79 years, that he's going to have to leave and he has to follow orders. And I thought to myself, oh shit, he's in love with this woman and he has to leave. He can't take her back to where he lives with the elves. He can't go back there. She can't live there. They don't even know about their relationship. It's a secret. And that part kind of hooked me because I thought, well, how's he going to be with this woman that he loves? He's been keeping this. It's kind of on the down low. No one wants to know that they have this relationship. I guess maybe she'll get flogged or whatever it is. And I just thought it was kind of very scary, the idea that they'd have to be separated. It was the first time in the show that I was actually thinking about a conflict, I guess because it's about two people who love each other. But then there was one other scene where Galadriel and all the other elves are on the boat, and while they're on the boat, um, they start to sing.
Hmm.
And as they start to sing, all of a sudden, I totally forgot, I was immersed in like another world there. And I thought to myself, if they can have a moment like this where the singing, it just caught me quite by surprise, Russ. And they were singing and the voices sounded otherworldly and, just almost godlike. I thought they could have had that kind of magic throughout the whole show. They could have done it, Russ. It was possible. The potential was there for them to do it because I left that show. I completely forgot where I was on planet Earth for about a minute and a half. And then she dives in the water. I'm like, oh my God, what just happened? Oh, I'm
Hmm.
watching, the show. And it took me back to, just sort of the mundaneness of the show for me, at least. It felt like it felt like a science fiction fantasy show for me that didn't have imagination. And I expected higher quality, more from the level of what they seem to be promising. Now, if you are wanting a mid-level entry, mid-level kind of maybe lower to mid-level science fiction fantasy show, this is probably it. But I would give it about maybe a 6.5 on the scale. Now, I am not talking about whether it's accurate to Tolkien's work, and you are going to comment on that. I am not going to say whether it is or isn't, because I'm not going to insult people. I am not a Tolkien scholar or an expert. I love Tolkien, but I'm not judging it on the idea of as to whether it's accurate to Tolkien's vision, guys. So, Russ, I want to throw the floor to you with an interpretation that addresses that and whatever else you want to address regarding the Rings of Power.
Well, I'm no Tolkien scholar either, um, but you don't need to be to know that they've already come out and said that they're going to write the novel that Tolkien never wrote. As nerds and fans who know the backstory to this, we know that they don't have the rights to do anything other than a bit of the appendices and so on. So we kind of know where they're coming from, on that score. Um, as a fantasy show, um, it's boring. As a Tolkien show, it's insulting for all of the reasons that we've spoken about. Trampling all over the law, all of the stuff that was made about people of color sort of being in the show. The way that they've handled it is it's kind of pointless. Why did you do this? Why did you cause all the controversy when these faces didn't necessarily need to be there in these particular roles? You've created a bunch of controversy. You've had fan debates going on for months and months and months before the show came out, and there was really nothing. There's nothing to do with the show. It just didn't make any sense. Like you've got the halflings, and the girl's parents, one of them's a lady of color, the dad isn't, and yet she's looks like Frodo Baggins, and you've got the sort of random African American elf, everyone's calling Don Lemon. Why? What's the point of that? But let's just put all that aside. Who cares? They're there. There's nothing we can do to change it. As Rob always says, if you put your agenda before your story, you're going to be in trouble. And this show doesn't achieve the first thing any decent show should. It's just boring. Like I watched the first episode, I got through it, and then I couldn't face the second episode again. So I watched half of it this morning, and I had to turn it off because I just didn't care. And then I watched the rest of it just a little bit before this show started, so I'll be able to talk about it. Um, you talking about Peter Jackson and why they wouldn't want to go near that. I would counter and say, you know what? There's the blueprint right there. Like they had more money than God to make this show, and the aesthetic that they've chosen for the elves is just strange. These people aren't the men I'm talking about specifically. The men don't look like you imagine elves would look. They've got these guys with
They
these
don't
kind
look
of, excuse
hot.
me.
They don't look hot.
They don't look hot. Okay, there you go. They've got these strange angular faces. So I
They
get what
look
they were kind of
old,
going.
Russ. They look
Yeah,
old.
they look old. They look old, right? Even I think Hugo Weaving as Elrond in the Lord of the Rings show, he was pushing 40, but he still looked like amazing. They
They
all
made
looked
effects
amazing.
on his face and
Yeah,
things to
just
give it a little oomph.
just looked like what an elf should look like. And that's a trope. And why not adhere to this? Why reinvent the wheel? Um, and then we have the beginning, they're trekking through the snow and the ice. They get attacked by a cave troll, and cave troll takes everybody out, but not Galadriel because she's kick ass, and she kicks the ass, and then she goes back. And that scene where they're on the boat, I was kind of wondering why they'd spend weeks and weeks standing there with their swords like that on the boat. And but I thought the singing bit was great, and then she just jumps off and jumps into the water, and I'm thinking, love, you're 100 miles away. What are you doing? This is the what are you
She
doing?
doesn't care. She's just going to swim it out, Russ. She'll swim it
She's
out.
gonna, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Darth Plato, elves do have sharp, angular features, but
And
kind of
I
like
just,
kind of
I'm
like they were in Lord of the Rings. Not this. These guys kind of just look strange, and I think when they've got these sort of gelled quiffs, I don't know, man. It's just the aesthetic is that everyone kind of knows what elves look like. Like I said with House of the Dragon, bloke looks like alcoholic Legolas. He looks like alcoholic Legolas. We know what elves look like, and these guys don't look like elves.
I just want to
Um,
quickly say hi to Marcus Bisma. Hello,
mhm.
Marcus. Welcome to the show. And also to Baba Chen. Baba Chen, listening to us about House of the Dragon is so therapeutic. Thank you so much for being on the show and coming to listen. And please continue, Russ.
Yeah. So then she jumps off into the water, and hopefully she's gonna find land. I mean, if this was like if I was doing a YouTube video on this, this is the part where you cut to Tony Stark saying, "Not a great plan." Yeah, it's like, what do you think? And we're supposed to swallow this. We're supposed to, we're just supposed to go along with this. Like, fine, of course she's. Yeah, we know she's going to be fine because she's Galadriel. She's awesome. Um, yeah, so it didn't really engage me, and I don't know. Benjamin says here, why did Amazon insist that the show would closely follow Tolkien's law when it
Benjamin.
couldn't be further from reality? It's difficult to see how that tactic produced any benefit.
Well, that's what
Well,
you were talking about, Russ, when you said you just want people to advertise stuff and truthfully follow through on what they say they're advertising we're going to
yeah,
get.
it's not too much to ask, is it? Especially when you're, as we've said before on this channel, the thing is they've picked the wrong fan base to mess with on this, and this has become yes, yeah, I saw that, Tom, actually. What have Amazon done? They've actually turned off their reviews. You're not allowed to review uh, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, because they know it's good. So they're literally going through now and removing any review that's sort of negative. So the rumors go, so that the show will rate highly. But the Tolkien fans won't be silenced on this. All right. So that pre-sold audience that you were going after, um, anyone that's what Mikey always says, sort of watch first and then make your decision. Well, people have seen it now. So all of the pre-talk about it being woke and whatever, all of that stuff's finished. Now we're in the actuality of what is not a very good show, not very well written. Morfydd Clark, I think the Galadriel's name is. She's a good actor. I'm not so down with her performance here. I thought the most endearing part of the show so far was the bit where Elrond goes to Khazad-dûm, which looked awesome. Especially because we've seen it
It
before in Lord of
looked
the Rings.
so good, Russ. It was the dwarfs' home and everything was in gold. And the dining room when they're eating at, I was like, who's the decorator? Who decorated that dining room?
Mm,
It was so beautiful, Russ.
yeah, it was amazing, and especially because we've seen it before in Lord of the Rings, where it was all sort of destroyed, and this is what it was like before it was destroyed. But I just thought the performances there, um, it captured a little bit of that Gimli and Legolas magic. There was like a hint, excuse me, there was like a hint of Jackson in there, but it was like a little tiny firefly in the darkness of what was just pretty boring. Like the kid with the knife and the creature under the floorboards. Is that an orc? I don't know what that is, what that's supposed to be. I don't really know. You're talking about the romance between Arondir and Jenna or Becca or whatever the healer's name is. But you know, we only know that because we were told that there was a romance between them. Actually, if you shut your brain down for all the stuff that you've read and saw between it, there's actually sort of no romance there. There's kind of like a bit of a look between them, and you know, I've been wanting to say something for a while, and that's kind of it. There is no romance there, so it's not there's not a lot to grab hold of in the Rings of Power for me, man. Um, that Amazon have turned off their reviews is really, really, really telling.
Well,
You know,
I might be holding on to the romance that never was, Russ. It's so sad.
well, the romance will be there, but you know, they told it. You know, when you were saying about your new show, it's like, why can't they just shut up and let us make up our own minds? Like, we've been told that there's this, um, you know, romance between an elf and a human, which is clearly a commentary on interracial relationships. I mean, you know, it's literally they might as well be walking around with a t-shirt going, "We're in an interracial relationship." You know, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
I'm with her and she's with me. So what about it?
yeah, so what? You know, I'm black and proud, and you know, good for you, mate. You know, great, and go with it. I'm happy for you. But you know, it's that's not. We were told that before the show started. They don't show us that in the show, really, do they? It's just a sort of,
No,
you know, a
and it would
little
have been
bit of a
nice to have seen a love scene with them in bed together because Cordova
something.
is handsome. He's a good-looking guy, you know,
Oh
and
yeah,
the marketing was so bad for him. He is hot, and we should have seen like a little bit more of
I
Cordova, I
tell you
think.
what, if I was
Would
that
have
way, if
been
I was that way inclined, I wouldn't kick him out of bed for eating crisps. Let me tell you.
He's beautiful. He's got these gorgeous eyes. He's, you
Mhm.
know, he really is very different. And I think that that would have been nice to have seen him kind of, well, you know, I've got my thoughts on what I thought the love scene should look like. And it would have
Mhm.
been nice if the son was kind of knew about it, but doesn't like it, but saw them together. And that would have also set up some animosity there. I
Mm.
think it could have been very interesting to have seen them together. They need to have a love scene together rather than her sitting on a rock wall trying to wonder like, well, what the hell is going on? But you make such good points. And I think, you know, the series has a long way to go. Darth Plato says the singing in light was meant to mirror heaven, which is wrong. Valinor isn't heaven. It's more like Avalon from the Arthurian myth. I didn't know that, but I felt that that singing really removed me from the whole series in a good way. I think that the Starman idea, can someone please tell me if this is actually something from the books? Because this is Starman to me, although he's not quite Starman. But when her friend says, well, what are you doing? Why are you pulling this guy around? And I'm thinking to myself, well, he is a guy who fell from the stars. You know, you probably would, you know, help him out too. And I think they could have used Lenny Henry a little bit more here. You know, he's the probably the biggest or one of the biggest stars in the show. And we see him for a second, but he's not really that prominent. If it has, you have to make him like a Harfoot that's like Chef, then make him like a Harfoot that's like Chef. Make him, you know, be a little bit more stern rather than them be all so easygoing with non-distinct personalities. None of them are individuals. Every Harfoot is a carbon copy of another Harfoot. No one stands out. And, you know, that kind of is bad for a show like this. You want distinct personalities for every character. Make him be like Chef, but a Harfoot. Why not play up to Lenny Henry's abilities in a show that we loved him in, right, Russ?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know why the Harfoots are Irish. That's like why they've all got Irish accents. That's like the weirdest thing. I don't, I don't know. But then again, I suppose you could argue why the dwarves all Scottish. But you know, I kind of like that. Um,
Rogue
but
thinker. It's so good to see you here.
um, I don't know. It's just not. It's just not great. And yeah, Darth Plato's right. That you know there are serious breaches of the law. Even you know the little bits I know. It's just not good. It's just not good, and that is upsetting. So even if you take all of the politics and all the stuff and all your points of view aside, it's just
And
crap.
I do want to mention something. MCP Scotty says he enjoyed it, and I am happy for you that you enjoyed it.
Mm,
There were parts of it that I enjoyed. because they are boasting about having, how many views was it? 25 million views on the first day. Amazon,
Mm.
it's going to be successful for them because there are so many subscribers. Millions of people will be watching this over and over again. So in their light, they're viewing this as a success, even if the millions of people who watched it were very upset with it. They're still viewing it as a success because you turned it on to watch it. And I think that, I'm not criticizing their point of view. This is a money-making venture. People watched it. Probably 100 million people will watch it by the end of the year, and it'll be an incredibly watched show. And they'll see that as a
Oh,
success.
I kind of disagree. I'm wondering if the viewership will fall off because I'm wondering. You see, the show isn't controversial enough to be the stuff that will create YouTube videos upon YouTube videos upon YouTube video in the same way that She-Hulk is just that we're just mining it for the a lot of people are mining it for the joy of dumping all over it. Whereas I rather think this show is pretty quickly gonna fall out of the geekdom zeitgeist. You've got things like Cobra Kai coming up. You've got House of the Dragon giving you your fantasy fixes. We're entering the autumn season. Who knows what's around here? Andor's coming. Now, despite what all the people have said about it being, a comment on Donald Trump, as you're tackling in your new show, perhaps the show isn't like that. In the same way that we can all see that um, the House of the Dragon is about taking on the patriarchy, but not in such an overt, heavy-handed way as they led us to believe in the interviews. You've got to kind of hope that Andor might have that sort of vibe, but be smart enough not to smash you over the head with it. Whereas Rings of Power is not particularly woke, actually. I mean, it's all about the strong female character who's flawless, which is a trope that
Who kills the troll? Everybody's trying to kill the troll, but then she killed the troll with her knife, which seems impossible. But I guess she could do it. But
yeah. But
that
what was
should
the
have been
point
a
of?
fun, exciting fighting scene, and it wasn't
No,
because
it was just to prove that she's the bestest of the best. Like what happened to the other elves? I thought they were all supposed to be awesome. What were they even doing there then? She's prepared to actually leave one of them to die in her quest to find whatever the orcs and all the rest of it. Yeah, so I wonder if this show will actually have any legs. Will we be talking about this show after Cobra Kai comes out, reach a
oh,
season 2?
and when does that start?
God, now someone will in September at some point soon. The trailers are dropped. Mike Barnes is back. Terry Silver's kicking ass. Martin Cove's in prison kicking ass. I mean, this is it's such a fun show. Um, yeah, Maury looked good. The doors were okay too. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that maybe the doors might have been there, and like what you were saying, Russ and I concurred that I thought it looked great. And Stella McShave does say it has the potential to be good. Yes, and Brother Cousins Toys reviews are here. Hello, Brother Cousins. Guys, do check out Brother Cousins YouTube channel where he does fantastic reviews on his channel of 1/6 scale figures and so much more. He says, love the storm earring. Thank you so much, Brother Cousins. I'm so glad you like it and so glad that you are stopping by this morning. Guys, do please check out Brother Cousins Toys reviews on YouTube, everybody. And you guys are making such good comments. New old school says, greetings, Artem. I watched both episodes and I think it was good. Well, we are glad that you liked it. And guys, just so you know, for those of you who have never been here before, we welcome all points of view here. So we know that some of you guys are going to like, some of you guys are going to not care for it. Some of you guys don't care. But it's just good to have you all here so we can talk about different things that we found in the show and different points. That I think are very important. Mark Goes Blind Gaming is here. I can't find his comment, but hello, Mark Goes Blind Gaming. If I haven't already said anything to you, it's so great to see you. Now, Russ, how much longer can you hang out today?
Not too much longer. I've got to start getting ready to go out.
Now, with that being said, we are going to start to wrap up the show. Just to remind everybody, I do have a new show coming out on the PGS on September 12th at 6 p.m. Eastern on the Post Geek Singularity. Ladies of the PGS, we're going to embrace masculinity and sex and have conversations on sci fi, fantasy, and horror that includes things like Star Wars, Star Trek, and so much more. So I hope to see you all there on the show. Also, the other thing I was going to say is, Russ, where can people find you? And Brother Cousins Toy Review, a link is right here, guys. Russ, where can people find you?
Well, I have a website at russellwhitfield.com, which is about 1,000 years out of date, and you can always reach me at contact@russellwhitfield.com. But more importantly, where can we find you, RM?
Well, you guys, you can always find me here on Positive Fandom, where I stream on YouTube, Twitch, and Odysee. You can also find me streaming on other channels as well, the 1/6 Scale Man Network, where I sometimes appear on Say Anything or Uncivilized Scoundrels, which I believe I will be on here on Thursday of this week. Sometimes you can find me streaming on Midnight's Edge. I will probably start to be streaming back on Midnight's Edge starting not this upcoming week, but the following week, guys. So I will be back on Toxic Femmes and on Midnight's Edge in the morning. You can always find me streaming on the Post Geek Singularity Network with Robert Meyer Burnett on our show Midnight Musings. And of course, you can find me here on Sundays on my Sunday brunch show at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also stream with Lorena Creole on her channel. We also have a show called Toxic Male Appreciation on Thursdays on her Twitch channel, and we do reviews as well. So, guys, for everybody who is here, for everybody who stopped by, we want to thank you for joining us here on Sunday Brunch Live. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this wonderful Labor Day weekend here, this holiday here in the States. And if you are not from the States, we do wish you well. And also to Vicman de Santiago, who says, hello from Mexico. Well, aren't you lucky, Vicman de Santiago, for living in such a beautiful place? Guys, we appreciate you all. Benjamin
Oh,
Wolf, I wasn't sure if I said hello to you.
last word. I don't think new old school has seen Cobra Kai. Dude, if you've watched The Karate Kid and you love Karate Kid, you've got 4 seasons of good greatness to watch there. There is no bad batch in Cobra Kai. It's all fucking awesome.
It is amazing, and perhaps maybe one of the most perfect shows to come out in quite a long time. Maybe one of the best reboots I have ever seen, guys. I couldn't recommend it enough. Tom Jr. Jackson says that Cobra Kai Season 5 premieres September 9th on Netflix. Guys, go ahead and check it out. And of course,
That's going to be my Saturday tied up because there's a huge boxing tournament on Saturday night. So I'll binge watch Cobra Kai Saturday and then spend the night watching boxing. I can't wait. That's going to be awesome.
it is going to be awesome. Benjamin Wolf talks about Tolkien fans disapproving of what's been coming out. And I'm glad you shared that, Benjamin. And of course, I mentioned to you all my new show on September 12th on the PGS, the Ladies of the PGS, where we embrace masculinity. So, guys, have no fear. It is going to be a fun discussion on things that are coming out. Joe Tyson says, cheers, everyone. Rogue Thinker says, farewell and enjoy. And to everybody out there, wherever you are, it has been such a pleasure talking to you today. Always remember to please be kind, everybody, and take care.
Thanks, guys. See
Bye.
you later. Bye-bye. Bye.